What's good? What's good? Welcome to the Epic Entertainment Critics. I am Antoine.
And I am still James.
And we got an epic review for y'all for The Undoing, Episode 3. We already did Episode 1 and 2 review. It's on the channel. Please check it out. But this is Episode 3 for the HBO Max series starring Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. But before we do that, we have an intro.
Roll it.
All right, we have returned. So, The Undoing, it's an HBO Max miniseries. It's only going to be 6 episodes, so it's a miniseries, and it was based off a book. We did, like I said, we did 1 and 2, and where we at with this series is Hugh Grant and, so Nicole Kidman character and Hugh Grant character are married, and they're a happy couple. They got a son that's going to private school. They got the dream life. That gets shattered when a lady comes into their life, and we don't know who this mysterious lady is, and she ends up dying at the end of the episode, and it's a murder mystery because we don't know who killed her now. Her husband is blamed for it, and Hugh Grant, the husband, it looks very guilty, and we come to find out he was having an affair with this lady. And so the movie, like I said, the series is basically a murder mystery of who did this. And we got a lot of people point of views, and we got a few suspects, and we don't know yet because the way the series kind of set up is things are coming out as the episodes go along. They make it seem like it's one thing, and then we feel like, oh, okay, we got this. And then later, when more information come out, we find out, okay, it's way more layers to this story.
Right.
Excuse me. So, the second episode, basically, Hugh Grant, the police he shows up at the end, tell his side of the story, and Nicole Kidman calls the cops at the end of the episode. And so we saw on the trailer for the next episode that, eventually they're going to come, the police are going to go ahead and lock him up. So now he's going to basically turn himself in and say, like, hey, I want to prove my innocence. He didn't stay on the run. Why you make that face?
I mean, it was more, hey, look, so since my wife called y'all on me, can I tell my side of the story?
Well, I mean, I think he could have ran, but he just kind of like saying.
He, from just the way it seemed, like he didn't think she would actually call the cops on him.
Or maybe, yeah.
He thought she'd stick with him and have his side on it.
Right, and we're going to get into that later because she's not a dumb character, but she seems like she's gullible or just
willfully obtuse.
Don't get it or something. But okay, like I said, she called the cops on him. Cops come and pick him up. That's kind of like where the episodes start. And now he's kind of like, I thought they was going to do kind of like an interrogation scene where they going to start asking him what happened. No, they just skip to, we charging you going to jail because they immediately just show him going to jail.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess they're going to charge him, but don't they have to go through a whole process of making sure that he's the right guy? I guess they just skipped that.
Considering like the fairly slim amount of evidence that they proclaimed to have,
yeah,
he wasn't ready to be charged. He shouldn't have been arraigned yet. It should have just been they might have been able to get him on. No, they couldn't even get him on fleeing arrest or anything. It was just they should have been
because they never contacted him and said that you were a person of interest because he didn't have his phone. He wasn't there.
So like they tried to. He came. He pops back up. It should have been, glad we finally got you. We got some questions for you,
right?
Man.
Because you are main suspect because of circumstantial evidence, but no physical evidence.
All they had at the time was circumstantial. Even the bit of physical evidence.
I'm about to say they did have his DNA in her body because they had just had sex.
And her daughter is his daughter, so that answers that question.
But
they
I don't know
have-
how long this take, but I know those DNA tests at least take a week or so, right? I know
Yeah.
it's a lot better. It used to take way longer, but now
But like, if anything, like all it proves is that he's attached.
Yeah.
He's still a person of interest, and from what they have and his behavior, he is still the most likely suspect.
right, and it's fine that he'll be the first suspect, but this
But he wasn't ready to be charged.
right. From what I know about how the legal system works, this take a minute before this, because you can't say he fled because y'all never told him he was suspect.
Right.
From his point of view, he can say, I didn't know she was dead. Even though he knew and he admitted to his wife that he saw her body, but he could be like, hey, he can make up whatever story.
Right.
Now, I don't know how much time has passed. I can only imagine it's only been a couple days though.
Yeah.
And immediately you go to jail. You know what I'm saying?
And this is the thing. It's not even the jail thing. It's the fact that this dude's in prison. Right.
It's supposed to be like a jail waiting for trial or whatever, but it did seem like a jail that, first of all, I didn't think rich people go, like it's a kind of a different, this is like, they treated, okay, first off, he go right to jail, right?
It'd be different if it was a white collar crime.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay. So it's all right. He going on the bus with all the low down criminals and all
Yeah.
that. Okay, but what really threw me off is he had to get a public defender. I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
He broke.
I know that maybe his wife at the time was like, I ain't finna give him no money, but I could imagine that he didn't already have a lawyer that's, what I'm saying, the family lawyer that don't know he broke
because
yet.
he don't I guess his family ain't like big money.
Maybe he's a doctor. I mean, I can imagine that he don't already have a lawyer that he could just call and be like, hey, first of all, most of the time when you got a good lawyer, they can move you to a
keep in mind also he was a doctor, so he probably didn't need his own lawyer. The hospital probably had a lawyer.
Most people that's that well off got a lawyer. They can just call once something happens.
I mean, I'm sure like his
I don't, but
his wife probably has access to her family's lawyer.
Right. I know. Okay. I just didn't like the fact they just made it seem like he just some poor dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Immediately,
Well,
even if you run out of money, you still got connections because people don't know you broke yet. They could bill you not knowing that you don't have the money to pay them.
What it comes down to is like from what I've seen of him since the series started is he's a very he's not really a people person. Like getting him to interact with people who aren't dying seems to be a bit of a struggle, Like just
I don't know. I mean, I feel what you're saying, but I'm just saying what they tried to do, the position they put him in, it just don't track for me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying where it seems like he probably just don't have relationships with people.
I think he just doesn't have any of those connections. Like he's making that money because or at least he was a doctor.
Yeah.
But like he wasn't like, to my knowledge, like notably from money.
Okay, but all right. It didn't feel natural because I'm already thinking, he got some rich dude lawyer about to show up and either get him out or get him in a better facility or at least get him in the when they by themselves. Solitary because because it's a famous case. It's too much public notoriety for this case, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that because he got this public defender, and I'm looking like, first of all, I'm looking like public defender, but they actually make the public defender actually seem like a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, because once you meet him, the Badger.
Yeah.
We got the guy call him the Badger. I'm like, and then he's actually kind of cool. And the way he's talking, I'm like, this dude sound like a good ass lawyer.
Like, because like one of the lines he gave was like, but I'm innocent. No, innocent's good. Not talking is better.
Right, but then he was. It'd be
better if you were guilty.
Right, he said, I actually prefer my clients to be guilty. It makes it easier for me. I was like, okay. And he's like, because my job is to get you out of jail. My job ain't to prove that you're innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like he even I love the way he handled because later on in the episode he does talk to the wife.
Right.
And he's like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Innocent people don't do what your husband did.
Well, not just that. When he said, "I can read people," and basically he said, "I can tell when people lying," and I feel like he ain't lying, even though sucks for him. Like he ain't like broken up about it, but he's like, "Look, honestly, I don't think he did it. And if you want to help get him out, then he can use your help. But honestly, I don't think he did it.
Yeah.
And
But also being upfront about the fact this ain't a winning case.
right when he's like looking at the evidence, talk. Yeah, but I'm innocent. Sure, buddy. But no, and then it kind of tripped me out. So now, what's his name? What's Hugh Grant character name? Is it? I forgot. I know his last name Frazier.
Is it? It starts with a J.
John. I guess it's John.
Let's go with John.
Yeah.
No.
So he in jail, and he asked to see his wife. So and then I'm thinking like, oh, she ain't gonna want to see you or help you. He tell her like, I'm innocent. I can't do this. I could have never taken a life or whatever. And I was kind of looking like
I was
telling somebody who cares. You know what I'm saying? I would have been like that. And she kind of started off like that, and then she started to fall for his charm again.
Like watching.
How'd you feel about that?
Because like watching the effect he has on her makes me more sure that he's a psychopath.
Right? Because I can finish your thought.
But like just that like sort of insidious charm that psychopaths tend to have, and like because none of his explanations would sway any reasonable person. Like, you know me. No, I don't. Yeah. I thought you was a good dude, but clearly you wasn't.
I can tell. First, I thought that it was just, he just trying to, wanted somebody to believe him or prove his innocence. But I also can tell, I think he's innocent, but I also can tell he's got this hold over her, and he needed to see her in person to sway her to start helping him.
It feels that way. It definitely feels that way. Because, like, the whole time she's like, I can't believe we would do this. Forget him. Y'all go ahead and lock him up. If he did this, he needs to go away for good. And then the second she's sitting from, but what if he didn't do it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, and we're going to get to this. So it seems that Grace, Nicole Kidman character, is going on a quest to prove that he's innocent because she's like talking to, first she talked to the doctor that she tried to talk to earlier, one of his colleagues.
Yeah.
And she asked him, about the case and all that. First he was a little reluctant. He was like, all right, I'll talk to you. And it's funny how everybody was like, yeah. Basically, they was come to her like, I'm glad. I know you glad you got that killer cheater out of your life. And she be like, well, maybe he's not, guilty. They be like, what? You know what I'm saying? What are you, stupid?
Even like, it's to the point where everyone in her life or that's in his life is like, yeah, I always thought there was something about him, when he did this, I knew. It was like, where was y'all before?
Yeah.
But
right. And it's like, everybody seems to be just dead set on him being guilty. Like nobody even considered a possibility of that he could be innocent. And, I'm like, was he that much of an a-hole that nobody really liked him? Because that's not how they set it up early on. But slowly we saying maybe it was one of them, nobody really liked him, but they didn't really tell him they didn't like him.
Right.
Because I'm going to go to, she's talking to her dad, and her dad is kind of like, yeah, he's guilty. Like, and ain't no if and buts about it. He guilty. What? Why are you even trying to think of something else? You know what I'm saying?
Like even when it comes to like the bit of like all the bits about like him covering up the fact that he lost his job.
Yeah,
which again,
man, he did so much dishonest stuff.
Oh man, which again points to this like him kind of being like the charming psychopath.
Yeah,
like this dude put a lot of work into hiding all this stuff, and it's just like. Let me rephrase that. He put a lot of work into hiding that he had lost his job and almost no work into hiding that he was cheating on his wife.
Well, see, this stuff, that's the kind of stuff. So I'm going to tell you, stuff don't kind of track for me. Well, I ain't going to say it don't track, but it's just, the Grace character just don't make sense to me sometimes. Right. Because the fact you don't know none of this, you don't know. So he ain't had a job for months. So he ain't been having no income coming in. You haven't noticed anything weird on your finances?
Well, that's what the $500,000 loan from her dad was about.
Or we're gonna get to that. Your husband been cheating on you. He's got not only a side piece, but he got a child. This was also don't track for me. He hired your friend as his lawyer to work on the case to show that he's cheating, or the case of inappropriate behavior at work. Why would you hire her friend if you don't want her to know?
Also,
that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Also, look, I'm going to tell you this. I've known quite a few medical professionals. That confidentiality shit is like, that's official business only. Like you may not name names, but it's like, hey, look, so I know somebody that did some off-the-wall stuff.
Even if it wasn't the case, the fact that if you get somebody's friend, they going to say something, or they going to be like, well, I can't do this because that's my friend, you know? Yeah. And the fact that you steady talking to her and she just oblivious that he could have been cheating, like, or he been doing shit at work, and she ain't never brought this up.
I call major BS because her friend's like, I assumed that you knew, and...
Yeah. And it's confidential and all. Confidential, my ass. You mean to tell me all this time you been laughing and chit chat with me, knowing that my husband could have been cheating on me?
Yeah,
not cool.
Like,
not cool at all.
Like, because my thing is this: if that was something that was going to come up, you shouldn't have even considered giving any advice, taking the case, none of that.
Right. So that's another friend that knows more that's gonna come out. It's people got theories. I got a theory. I'm gonna give all my theories at the end of the review, but I got a theory about her. So the dad. So let's talk about the dad. Her Grace's father been coming out with more stuff. That he knows stuff. Everybody know more than they letting on. Yeah. And Grace is the last horse to finish the race on everything. And I got a theory about that too. I'm gonna get to that with all my theories. But her dad come to her and say, "Oh yeah, he came to me. Oh, this is killing me." Everybody saying stuff that they should have said a long time ago. Oh yeah, he came to me for a loan about some money, and I was like, maybe it'll help you out. So I thought I was helping you guys. And this is the problem. If you came to him for maybe 15 grand, or maybe even 10 grand or so for some couple bills here and there. This dude said he came to him for $500,000.
Yeah.
And you didn't think nothing suspicious of that?
Yeah.
Bro, 500 G's? You got to explain something.
Look,
I need proof of concept or whatever you working on. So ain't no way I'm going to just give you that.
Because I don't know if y'all heard us the first two times. $500,000.
$500,000 for what?
That, I don't care how much money you got. That's not chump change, okay? Jeff Bezos will look at you funny for $500,000.
Right.
Okay? That's a lot of...
that causes red flags to me. But look, his explanation, with the way he tried to, he was crying. He was trying.
You would have never come to me for it if you needed it. And he said that, so I knew he was right.
Right. So he started crying and doing, because Donald Sutherland's a good actor. He made it say, "Did you buy the tears?" Just I said, halfway I wanted to, but then half of me say, because Donald Sutherland's a good actor, I say you did good on, but the character, no, I don't buy it. I think you I think you full of crap. I think you wanted to do that because you know your daughter's gullible, and if you drum up some tears, she's going to be like, "Oh, Ray, it's not your fault."
Because I'm wondering if we may not have the same theory on what's going on with this.
Okay, so I'm gonna drop my theories at the end, and I want to, and I'll let you. You can tell me if you got problems with it or you got your own theories. But her dad tell her he gave him some money, in which I'm looking like you should have said that right when this stuff kicked off. Why wouldn't you say something earlier?
Because in the midst of all this drama, it's okay, look, I need you to know this right now.
So when all this stuff going, happening, then you drop this bomb. So it started. He always keep nagging her. You need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer. And I was like, she do need to get a lawyer, but why do you keep nagging her about it? Something else about to come out. You know what I'm saying? That also was a red flag for me. And then they gave you this one bit where he show up at the father house at what's her name,
Elena.
Elena's husband, the widower house.
Widower.
out of nowhere. Like, what's up with that? And speaking of him, we could talk a little bit about him. They gave him a little bit in this episode. Is he following Grace?
It looks like it.
Because it just seemed like they keep. It seemed like they keep popping up at the same time, but it could be like he just be going to pick up his son from school and run into her. But it also seems like he's trying to run into her or something like that. I'm not sure exactly.
Because at least one time it looked like he was working up the nerve to confront her and he decided to back off.
So I think he's right, like you said, he's kind of following her. Like he just maybe making sure he ends up at the school at the same time as her. Just so he want to say something to him, not sure. So they finally get a little confrontation, and it didn't. I'm like, okay, it didn't really go like I thought because he just kind of like they kind of just like basically talk about what's going on between them. But first he was like, hey, maybe we should talk. And she like, no, we ain't got nothing to say. I'm like, yeah, you should talk to him. I don't understand what she on. You know, maybe she's not ready, but no, you ain't got time for this. I'm just thinking like, yeah, you should talk to him because you need to get some info.
Yeah.
And then she asked her, you know, was your wife crazy? Was she already crazy? Like, I don't want to talk about that.
Of all the people to ask that question to, he wasn't the one.
Right. Because he seemed to be hiding something, but I don't know what, though. Because I don't think he did it at all.
No.
Which he does have motive, but they say he got a good alibi.
But like the one question she asked that was like a good question to ask, maybe not for her to ask him, was his wife sleeping with anybody else?
Yeah, and
he's like, no, there were no other men. You sure?
I was just about to say,
you sure about
you don't know. I would have been like, I honestly don't know.
First of all, it ain't like she.
But you know what I think though, and I guess I was gonna throw this about theory, but I just say this. I think he knew she was sleeping with him and didn't and let it. It was cool. Yeah, like I don't know the reason why I say it was cool because he was giving them like paying for their school, paying for her son to go to school, and I think she was kind of like, look, I'm gonna sleep with him to pay these bills.
Like I'll even say,
and he kind of like, all right, well you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think her sleeping with old boy was harder on her than it was on the husband.
Because it seems to, and it's kudos to his acting, but it seems to be that he was pissed off before she even came up dead.
Yeah. Where
he taking care of the kid. It just, his demeanor felt like somebody that was mad, not because he was mad she was cheating. It seems like he was mad because he knew something and couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of vibe I got from him.
Like,
you know?
Even there's that brief bit, I think, in the beginning of the first episode where the two of them are in bed together.
Right.
And he's trying to be there for her and she's just not with it.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of thing that's really like driving him up the walls. Like he's trying to be there for her, trying to be her husband, trying to be a dad for their kids, and the whole time she's like just isolating herself.
Right, and that's probably how he knew right off the bat that wasn't his kid.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I think it's gonna be some more coming out with that, and where the Grace kind of asked him about it, and he just like, you know, he ain't gonna say that. You know,
right.
That's gonna be something that's gonna have to come out later once his back is against the wall about whatever, you know. But that's what I believe is going to come out. And then, they dropped the bomb at the end before I give my theories. They dropped the bomb at the end where so Grace is basically going on a quest to prove his innocence. Why? Oh, I don't know. Because I'd be like, rot. I'd be like, well, you got yourself in quite a mess and you better get yourself out. I'm chilling. But she's going on a quest to prove his innocence. So she basically talking to everybody she's doing her own investigation. And she talking to everybody. Like I said, she talked to his colleague. She talked to her dad. She talked to the widower, her husband. I think did she talk to her lawyer friend?
She talked to the lawyer that
right.
Like they talked for a bit about the trial, and then she also...
and then she went to see actual lawyer.
Yeah.
Her dad kept asking her to get a lawyer. This is supposed to be like basically Olivia Pope from, what's that show that Kerry Washington got?
Not Suits.
Scandal.
Scandal, that's the one.
Yeah, so she basically like, or Viola Davis for How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah.
She basically like a dope female lawyer that... a good female lawyer
shark in a suit.
A shark, yeah. You know, she's a shark and she can, you know, she probably win all her cases or whatever. And she basically told her, I don't think I can prove he innocent, but what I can do is mess up the
Well, like she even said
prosecutor
it straight.
case.
She even said, straight, "People don't hire me to prove innocence.
Right.
They hire me to throw mud."
Yeah, and basically, and what that means is she can create doubt, and creating doubt is will mess up the prosecutor case, where you can get somebody off even if they guilty or not.
Yeah.
But
Because that's the whole thing. Like the defense doesn't have to prove a damn thing.
yeah, I know. It's doubt. You know,
Yeah.
once they got that doubt, they were like, well, maybe it wasn't him. You know,
convince
just-
one juror.
You get that right. You get that hung jury. You know. So okay, so she goes see her lawyer, and so she go to the cops one last time, and so now we kind of understand. Well, I understand why I can't remember his name, the Hispanic guy, but he basically been coming at Grace like she's guilty the whole time because he had this evidence that he seen, and his mind was telling him that she was guilty. And what we're talking about is she basically was pressing him for. She think it might be the husband.
Yeah.
Check, you know, does he have a rock solid alibi? Does he got video? You gotta have him, you know. She was like, no, we ain't got none of that. We got some video though. Well, let me see it, cause
Like-
I got it. I'm telling you, my husband innocent. You know, you can't just lock my husband up and not have no evidence. So whatever it is, you better let me see that. You sure?
I was really like waiting for him to prove that he wasn't just an asshole.
Yeah.
And this episode was just like, I mean, she want to see the
He
evidence.
was like, you know what? All right, you know what? You want to see it? Okay. So they show video surveillance of her walking by the crime scene like a block away.
A block away, yeah.
And then she's like, huh? I took a walk that day. You took a walk
Hey, look,
in the middle of the night?
And she was talking so good too. It's like, look, y'all got cameras everywhere in the city, and you gonna tell me that you don't have one single shot? Well, funny.
Yeah,
you
we
should
got
mention
something.
that. We do have a really nice shot, great quality. You want to see it? Because we got it.
Yeah, so that's where I was like, okay, yeah, that was the bomb. You thought not the bomb. That was a bomb. That was a bomb they dropped, and we found out that you was by the murder scene that night. Where we thought, as the audience thought, oh, she just went home and went to sleep. What was you doing outside? We didn't see you take a walk. You saw after the what was that auction or whatever they was at, after the little thing, she went straight home, went to sleep, right? That's as far as we know. I mean,
Right.
did we see anything else, her do anything
No,
else?
we didn't see
Right.
nothing else.
Okay, so I was like, okay. So now here's my theory. So my theory, and I hope I'm wrong because this would be too obvious, but my theory is when he left, she followed him, and she followed him to her studio, saw them having sex, and then when he left, and she went in there, killed her, and when he came back, he found the body, and she went home and went to sleep, and she don't even remember she did that. And the reason why I think that is, I got the feeling, because look how oblivious she is to all this other shit. I got the feeling she got little blackouts, and
I mean-
she do shit, and she don't know she did it.
Yeah.
That's why she her own worst enemy. She proving her own damn case. The cops like, man, we ain't got to do nothing. Let her sit back and do our job, and we can just lock both of their ass up.
Like, if at the very least, like she had a psychotic break,
Yeah.
and her memories are fractured. She just doesn't remember anything after she left the event. But she went and she, like you said, she saw what was going down, went in there, smashed old girl's face open, went home, went to bed.
Right. But see, I believe she don't remember this because the way as we see, we see what she remembered, not what actually happened.
Right.
Because they did have a flashback where her flashback was actually different from what we just saw.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we seeing what she actually remembers. She don't remember doing stuff like that. That's why even like it was in her best interest not to help her husband. She could have just not did nothing.
But we did also get a couple of brief like flashes of the murder.
Right. Which I'm thinking like, is this her point of view? Like when they keep showing stuff from seems like she having memories or stuff that she wasn't there, right?
Right.
So who is this memory? How she see this? Like they show them having sex. It seems like where Elena and John having sex, it seems like it's from her point of view, like she saw it.
Right.
You know, because it looks like they saw from like in the hallway somebody was looking at them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking it's from her point of view. So I'm thinking she did it and don't remember. And I feel like this has been happening before, and her husband know this, and he been taking advantage of this for a while. You know what I'm saying?
So, because like this actually kind
This is my theory.
So this actually goes into the theory I was having, which is like this is a persisting issue with her, and the people in her life have been handling her.
Right.
So like her dad keeps making this point of like, well, you know, you've always been weak. You know.
Yeah, that goes to my other theory. And before you finish your theory, just let me finish mine real quick, and I'm gonna let you get yours. Where I feel like her dad know this too, and he cleaned that up. Like I think he went there, saw this, like God damn it, and he cleaned this up and made it look like it was all the husband.
Yep.
And then you know he knew she wouldn't remember, so that's why he kept pressing her to get a lawyer.
Yep.
And I think, and I feel like this is my last theory. I think that the husband was actually sleeping with the lawyer girl lady too.
Okay, so we on the same wavelength.
And she might have did it. It might not have been. It might not have been Grace. It might have been a lawyer lady that was jealous because he was sleeping with Elena.
So like, I don't know.
That's all your suspects. Who else did it? It could have been the son. That's the only other person. Only other suspect, the son or the dad, or the husband.
I was thinking about this about the.
All right, your theories. Let me hear you.
I was thinking Elena's son might have done it, but like
I just don't see that little dude.
I just don't see it, you know. But like, I don't see the lawyer chick being in on that side of it. But I do think that he was probably sleeping with her, which is why she ain't said nothing this whole time. And I do think that Grace is her name.
The Nicole Kidman character.
Yeah, she's been having these episodes for a good long while. Her dad's just been cleaning up the whole time.
Yeah.
Something finally happened that's a little harder for him to clean up, so he pinned it on the husband.
Mm-hmm.
I would even go so far as to say that Grace probably had something like there's been stuff going on in their marriage he's been cleaning up.
Yeah.
And so this is just like, you know what? This is the only way. Hubby got to go.
Right. It kind of explains why she been so oblivious to everything, because she just don't remember when stuff like, maybe it's like when something's traumatic, she don't remember it, she block it out.
Yeah.
And they know this. And like I said, it's easy for him to take advantage of her husband, because when, like he said, he lost his job, whatever, she could have already knew that, and she just, too much on her handle, she just forgot, or she blocked it out.
You know, she probably had a disassociative episode. You know, it got to be more than she could handle. So whenever stuff gets to be more than she can handle, she disassociates. She blanks out.
Right.
She goes and does stuff. Her dad comes in and cleans it up.
Right.
You know, keeps shit quiet.
And which makes sense why the cops kind of like keep pressing her, like, you know, oh, you didn't know this? Like, I was like, damn, they being mean and insensitive to her, but I'm looking like, yeah, because it don't make sense that she don't know this stuff.
I'm still waiting to
feel like
find
she
out.
lying. I see them from their point of view. It's like, man, you better stop lying. You know this. You know,
I'm
just playing dumb.
I'm still waiting to find out that her dad was behind the non-disclosure agreement that the doctor that worked with her husband signed.
Yeah.
Like, because it very well could have been the hospital that put it forth.
Yeah.
But it also could have been him.
Right. So it's going to come out. A lot of stuff going to come out. We'll see. It's 3 more episodes. That's my theory. I kind of hope it ain't true because, one, I guessed it. But, and I just hope they don't throw out, obvious stuff and then go that direction. That's the worst.
I also hope that they don't take something like from far out of left field that clearly wasn't seeded throughout any of this and say, oh, all the stuff y'all just watched us put down meant nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it was a twin the whole time. Nah, none of that.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's pretty much that whole episode, man. We're going to wrap up. But, yeah, I got those theories. I hope they throw me a curveball and really just be something that I never suspect.
And sell it.
Yeah, we'll see. But that is our review for Undoing Episode 3. Stay tuned, or make sure you check out our next week for Episode 4. We be doing these weekly. Wednesdays will be pretty much our day. We'll be putting them up. We usually stream, but today not Netflix.
YouTube.
Today YouTube was acting funny, so we just posted. But yeah, Wednesdays will be the day we'll have our reviews up. So thanks for checking out the video, and please subscribe to the channel.
Don't forget to like and comment.
Yes, and please give us your opinion on these, and if anybody got any theories, I'd like to hear it on this show because this is a good show. I love mysteries. I just hate when it's too obvious, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so thanks for checking us out, and we out of here. Peace.